Hello everyone and welcome back to another Wano deck deep dive, and today we're gonna go into a division that just released and that is a lot of fun. The HDR London is a division that I have an absolute blast with it. And I tinkered around with it quite a bit. I think I found a pretty good deck by now. So let's get into this one, as this division really has a lot to offer. And we started logistics tab as usually, and this one is a pretty good one. You get 3 availability CVs in good numbers. We take 2 cards here because that's the only CVs we take in the deck. All the other tabs have purely fighting forces in it. And then we have also 3 cards of supply because it goes up to 5 cards with only 2 costs. So you can bring a good amount of supply. And we mix it here. The big bad forts here for your artillery as resupply. The normal ones here to get to the front line, and the Wessexes to get a bit behind the front line to resupply damaged tanks or similar things. So they can be pretty helpful there as well, coming in a bit quicker than the Bedfords, but are easier for the enemies to spot and shoot down. So Bedford better directly on the front line to reinforce your infantry also. Infantry tab, really solid one as well. You have all the infantry you need. You don't get any IVs, and you only get a really weak kind of APC here with the Kremlin Pig, with the M1919 as its MG. So we take the SASG. They are pretty important to win in infantry areas, like in big forests or in towns. You need these guys to really make the difference towards other divisions, like other infantry divisions can beat your other infantry usually, so your other infantry can hold, but the SASG is what allows you to win in those combats, so you need them. You need to be careful with them. You usually shouldn't open with them. They are too expensive to open with them, and you usually want to sell the Chinook as fast as possible as well. Yes, it has a minigun, but you need the 60 points usually back and want something else. And instead, usually you want to open with guards and with your recon tab to get around. Guards, really solid infantry as well. 9-man and resolute mean that they really hold out for quite a while against most other units, especially with the one vet here, thanks to the resolute, and they can uh, really do a good job on the defense and are okay on the offense as well, as you can push with them, thanks to them having light support weapons with they can fire on the move as well. And the cheaper guards with the law are actually pretty good combat units. The 7.6mm currently are really good. They have good suppression, so they can stand down enemy infantry quickly, and that for 15-point units is great. The Resolute here helps out a good bit as well. And yeah, you just want to have them on the flank to protect against enemy infantry, especially on somewhat longer line of sights. And when you mix that with the Milan 1, you get a really potent flank for the cheap price of 65 points. Milan 1s here for dealing with light vehicles, and then the Milan 2s pretty good as well. Resolute, not that important on them, but can be helpful in fights with enemy tanks. If they actually shoot at you, that can be the one that saves you from the stun and allows you to hit. So the Resolute here, not nothing on these Milan 2s. And then Immobile Terrier, you could go with more guards, but sometimes it's nice to have a unit that comes in a bit faster than Wessex. The Wessex are not the fastest helicopters, but the 12 hit points here are quite nice as well. So yeah, I take these guys, as you also get a bit more manpower than you would get out of 6 here, with 5 at 12 hit points here, but not really that much more. So it doesn't make a world of difference, but they are nice units, so we take them here. The rifle patrol here is there because you get it in the Kremlin, and the smoke grenades are really, really helpful. The SASG has them as well, and you can set up nice infantry pushes with those smokes. You also can help out your tanks and so on. Like, these guys are also good on the flank. Mixing with those with a Milan 1 or so can be nice as well, because of the extra optics of the security trait. Kind of working as makeshift recon units. The retap, pretty good as well. The AS-90 is great. Great rate of fire, and surprisingly cheap for what it does. The good HE rounds here, 155mm with good rate of fire, good range, good aim time. That just makes these pretty good. Like they have a better aim time than the 140mm, for example. And that is a big difference, allowing you to get a good couple more shots out onto the enemy than you usually would get, because they start moving also those 4 seconds can be quite important, and uh, makes this unit a good bit more responsive. So the AS90, I would say it's a bit underpriced currently. Should likely go up in price a bit because its stats are pretty nuts. And then we have a really old unit that we have because it's cheap. The 25 pounder is here mostly to be annoying and to smoke, as it has good range, it has good rate of fire, and it has good aim time as well. So you can set up small smoke screens really quickly and let your tanks advance behind that. And it is really cheap. Can be annoying for enemy ATGM positions also as well, which you usually want to get rid of because your tank tab is pretty good as well. So, but it isn't great when the enemy has a lot of ATGMs. The tank tab itself isn't the deepest. That's because it is an infantry division in the end still. But you get Chieftain Mark 1s, you get Chieftain Mark 9s. Mark 9s by now are in an okay price point. So these are pretty good tanks to get around. And the Chieftain Mark 1 4, I believe, is also pretty underpriced. So this is a really efficient unit as well. 80 points for 16 penetration with 12 frontal armor, a smoke, and a 50 cal that is also coaxial, just like the AMX 31s of the Spanish. So this one has a lot more accuracy than your usual 50 cal, meaning that this has a lot of infantry stopping power, making the chieftains surprisingly good against infantry, because usually British tanks are pretty bad against infantry, but this one is really good against them. So great infantry support, and pretty good against IFVs as well with its penetration. The accuracy is a bit low, but you usually want to push that pretty close as well. The Centurion Mark 13, good rate of fire. The accuracy and the penetration is fine as well. Has smoke, which on a 65-point tank is really great as well, as you can get a lot of them and smoke a lot with these when you push. And then you get a heavy tank, which a lot of divisions don't get either. So it's only one card, just like in second UK, but that one card makes a lot of difference, because these 3 tanks for a lot of divisions are hard to deal with. Like if you run into a Polish or Czechoslovak division that doesn't have any conquerors and has only 18 pen or so ATGMs, then the challenger becomes surprisingly hard to kill, and you can push quite hard with them. They don't get one-shotted by air ATGMs and so on, so the challenger 18 frontal armor really makes a lot of difference as well. And the Ferretzing Fire is a nice little ATGM. It's fast, it has smoke. This is the selling points. The ATGM itself is doing good damage, so the enemy has to respect it, even though it doesn't hit that much. But it's 60 points for a really fast smoke ATGM vehicle that the enemy has to respect, and that is quite nice. Recon Tab is a good one as well. You get dart snipers, which are not that great as a unit themselves. The Resolute doesn't matter so much for the sniper unit, but they come in a fantastic little transport. The A109A rocket. And this one has a couple of rockets, which can be nice to stress out enemy recon units and do a bit of damage. But the real damage dealers are those 12.7mm gun pods, as they actually win duels against other recon helicopters like a Mi-24. Like, these guys win against Mi-24s because they have 250 Ls and they have special forces trait on it, so that their damage output is really high. They can shred through light vehicles as well, and through infantry too. So for 55 points, this in the opener, if the enemy doesn't have AA, is a really great support unit. And it also is really fast, so it means that you can get those snipers into spots where you usually couldn't get your recon in the opener. A109, absolutely lovely helicopter. I also like the look of it a lot. Can't wait for the Italians to bring around more of those. And the Fox, with the exceptional optics, great for your tank pushes, allowing your tanks to actually see stuff. Chancellor, great for spotting stuff and moving around and figuring out where the enemy flanking positions are as well. Can disengage quite quickly when it gets shot at as well, and can survive a man-pat hit, so Chancellor, great recon helicopter, and Terrier Scout is just dirt cheap, 20 point, very good optics unit. The rover human here is not great because it currently has the wrong stats for the MGs. Has smoke, that is nice, but the MGs only have the infantry ranges. Once they get the normal vehicle ranges of 1200, then the max here will be a good bit better. Currently, they aren't that amazing. Then, AA is not great because you don't have any gun-based AA, and your anti-helicopter is not amazing, but Starstreak at least is pretty fine there with the great rate of fire. If the enemy flies into the Starstreak range, the helicopter usually dies because you have good accuracy and you have good damage and rate of fire onto the helicopter, so the helicopter usually gets shut down because two of the three shots will hit and they can't get out before those shots are fired. Blowpipes are really cheap and can stress out enemy helicopters and also just make the enemy feel threatened. Uh, Eventually, they will hit the helicopter and they have the range. So, for a cheap price, this is nice. Javelins are pretty useless. Bloodhounds just scare enemy planes away and eventually will get you the kills. The one extra veterancy is important. You can't afford 6 of these, especially not in 1v1. So, rather taking 4 of these, but giving them 5% more accuracy, which is especially important for range scaling. If the enemy gets closer, these will hit surprisingly much. Uh, so, you sometimes just want to have them turned off just for dodging seed, but also turning them on when the enemy is closer, so that your accuracy is a bit higher, because you only get one shot, so you better take it at the best range possible. And then you usually will get kills over time. And the Rapier FSB-1 is pretty reliable at shooting any planes that come close to it. And also can be surprisingly good against helicopters because of its long range, even though it's static. But you usually want to get this a good bit closer to a front line, and there it can be quite helpful as well, and the cost efficiency is okay for these. Helicopter tab, you have the link cell arms, quick moving around, can stop IFV and light vehicle pushes, and can keep tanks in forests as well. Usually don't kill tanks with this, but you can scare them away, and you can get out of dodge when the enemy brings in a plane or brings in AA quite quickly with the extra speed. Surviving a man-pad hit is a really great thing for the Lynx, and the Gazelle rockets here are just there to overwhelm enemies in an opening, or just win an infantry combat quickly and then force the enemy to buy AA, or you can do it again with a reload, and they are super cheap. Baiting enemy planes into them is great as always as well, but usually by now most people have stopped doing them, though even on top level it sometimes still happens that people try to kill Gazelle rockets with planes and then you just bully them for it. Losing a Gazelle rocket is just nothing basically, like they're nearly free. And then in the air tab, we go the safe route. You can play it with the Hawk AA plus tornadoes and make some really annoying play where you have the Hawks basically be the shield for the tornadoes. And if the enemy has only shotgun fighters, the Hawks are surprisingly efficient. But in games where the enemy only has long range planes, the Hawks just become a liability. So we go with double tornado here. And then for the attack planes, the Hawk attack plane with the rockets and the gun pods can stop 4 hit point helicopters efficiently with those gun pods. And the snap plus the gun also kills enemy infantry and ATGM teams really quickly. So for 55 points, that's great. The enemy needs to have AA up, and that forces them once more to get that. And if you get kills on the enemy AA with your artillery, so these can be nice. Plus they also are a pretty cheap way to figure out, has the enemy AA? Can I bring my Canberra? If you send in a Hawk and figure out the enemy doesn't have AA, and your tornado's already got air dominance or so, and you then send a Canberra in, the enemy is in for a lot of hurt, because these bombs do a lot of damage. The HE is the bigger payload, so this can be used against infantry really efficiently as well, and just take out a city block. And the cluster means that it reliably kills heavier armored units as well, because the HE bombs might not quite do that, but the HE plus the cluster do, so the Canberra, 475 points, if you can get it to target, is great. Only issue is that it dies really quickly, both to air-to-air missiles and to anti-air missiles because of the 0% ECM, so you need to make sure that it will get to target. Often it's worth getting it to target and then it dies, because it has 3 availability, but yeah, you have to be careful there. The Harrier GR5 is great against enemies that don't have the biggest of missiles. Against the biggest of missiles, it's a big gamble. It has 40% ECM, so meaning against enemies with only manpads or so, it usually will get its run through with only getting hit once, and that is totally fine. And against Coops, it usually won't get hit, but if it gets hit, it's dead. And that's the big issue there. But the bomb load is insane as well, so it kills everything it hits as well. And it can kill helicopters on the way out as well, and that is quite nice. And yeah, the bomb payload here is really gnarly. So the Harrier GR5 are pretty great as well. This makes this air tab quite scary. So strengths and weaknesses of this deck. First strength, we are looking at really good air tab. And I would also say the recon tab is a great strength of it. And then you get a good mix of infantry. Like, those are the 3 strengths with the combined arms around it being solid, like the support tab of AA does a good job. The tanks do a solid job, a better job than most other infantry divisions. And the artillery has a gnarly little unit in it as well, but you only get 2. And it's not like you can massively artillery spam. And weaknesses, lack of IFV and APCs. That is really big. Lack of forward deployment. Like, you can kinda negate that with the helicopter openers, but it's still annoying against enemies with SAS or so that have real forward deployment and AA. Like, there you will be in trouble for getting that ground, so you need to get it in another way. And yeah, the last weakness I would say is don't get as many medium and heavy tanks as you would want. And the lack of gun-based AA is quite annoying as well. So if the enemy gets a good lockdown on your stuff and can use helicopters a lot, you can be in trouble as well. But in general, I really like this division. It doesn't have any glaring weaknesses. Like, the IFV one, you can negate with enough amount of HGMs and armored vehicles here. The tank tab and recon tab that can go around, and the forward deployment one, as I said, you have fast enough units as well to negate that decent bit as well. And it has cool combat arms. I really like the air tab, the really cool planes here. And it's a division that I have enjoyed a lot. I hope you guys will do as well. Let me know down below how your experiences with HDR London have gone so far. See you all in the next one. Bye bye, and have a great day.